The 2021 NFL draft class will be entering their second year of their NFL careers this fall, and after their rookie years, which were dominated by players like Micah Parsons, Jamar Chase, and offensive linemen like Rashawn Slater and Penei Sewell, there were countless players that either A, did not play a lot because of players in front of them on the depth chart, or sustained an injury during their rookie seasons. And in today's video, we will be discussing a couple of players that will break out in 2022. There may be a surprising one or two in here, and I can't wait to share these players with you guys, so without further ado, let's begin. And we are starting today's video in Baltimore to discuss the first of their first-round picks from last year, and that is former Minnesota Golden Gopher Rashod Bateman. From a team standpoint in Rashod's rookie year, nearly everyone on the roster at some point in time was injured, and that includes former MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson, which is pretty big in terms of Rashod doing his job. And all things considered, Bateman did not have a bad rookie year, as in 2021, he finished the campaign with 46 catches for 515 yards and 1 touchdown, but what has to be remembered in all of this is he played in just 12 of those 17 games, started just 4 of those games, and played with Lamar in 5 of the 12 games he played. And not surprisingly, in an offense with Lamar Jackson, who is obviously not only a quarterback but also has his fair share of carries, and in an offense that likes to run the football, and in an offense with both Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown, I don't think it should come as a surprise that Rashod, as a rookie at least, did not put up big numbers. One thing that has to be remembered for the future, with not just Rashod, but with players in the 2022 NFL draft class, is we have been spoiled over the past 2 years with the 2 guys from LSU in Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, and those 2 are very clearly outliers and not the standard. And Rashod should not be expected in 2022 to put up what Jamar did this past year, which was an 81 catch, 1,455 yard, 13 touchdown stat line. But for Rashod, I don't think a 70 catch, 1,000 yard, and 7 to 9 touchdown stat line is out of the equation, considering what he put up in his rookie season with a quarterback that showed over the course of time in Tyler Huntley he was clearly not as good as Lamar Jackson is, and in an offense where the defense's priority and the game planning will not be focused on Bateman, and this is why I believe this is his chance to shine. Rashod won a ton of one-on-ones at Minnesota, and having Lamar, J.K. Dobbins back healthy, Mark Andrews, and Hollywood Brown all on the same offense with him will only benefit him because of where the defense has to focus. And eventually Rashod will be focused on and game planned against because he will force that after opposing defensive coordinators leave him one-on-one with opposing corners a few too many times. But this has breakout player written all over him. Now, to address something I'm sure you're thinking, I fully understand the concern of the too many mouths to feed in the same offense argument for what it's worth, but this is a player who put up over 100 yards against the Browns with Tyler Huntley as his quarterback, and that was a glimpse of what we can expect from Bateman next year. If opposing defenses double team Mark Andrews and play a too high shell to prevent a deep ball from Hollywood, then Rashod will be open every time on the dig route and will be the move the change receiver for Baltimore in 2022. Next up is Greg Rousseau with the Buffalo Bills, and this one makes a ton of sense for a couple of reasons. We all know and all had our opinions on the big Von Miller deal when the Bills signed him a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure when Greg Rousseau found out, he was smiling ear to ear as he gets to play opposite of a player who, I don't know this for sure, but I'm sure he looks up to in some mentor type role, and on the football field will benefit greatly because of what Von will provide. Von can very much be the DeMarcus Ware mentor to Greg that Ware was to him early in his career, and by the way, yes, I am saying Greg will break out in 2022, but no, I am not saying to expect him to become a multiple-time All-Pro player and a future Super Bowl MVP and everything else Von has became over the past decade. I am not saying that, to be clear, but from a pass-rushing standpoint, Von and Greg will be 2 good players from the exterior, and it's almost like they have a good interior defensive lineman in Ed Oliver, who will also alleviate some of the pressure from both Von and Greg from opposing offensive line. lines, and very quickly Buffalo's D-line has went from not bad by any means, but is now one of the better defensive lines in the entire NFL. With Greg, this is a player who I think would have broke out to begin with, as he had an okay rookie season, nothing spectacular, and nothing that screams future bust, but a good season to build on for both his and Buffalo's future. But with Vaughn here now, I love it, period. If there is a number for Greg to target in 2022, I would say it's in the 11 sack and 2 forced fumble area, and I realize 11 sacks may seem somewhat pedestrian in the grand scheme of things, especially with an added 17th game, but as a 22-year-old pass rusher in a defense that he will more than likely be in for the foreseeable future, that's a tremendous amount and a great stepping stone for what we expect him to become over the next 3 to 4 years. And to be clear on both Greg, Rashod, and the players we have coming up, a breakout season does not always mean you're the next Patrick Mahomes 5,050 of your position in year 2. And since I just brought up a quarterback, we will now go to a quarterback we expect to break out next year, and that's the 49ers' Trey Lance. And in Trey Lance's rookie season, in what was obviously a sparing role, he threw for just over 600 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, while completing just 57.7% of his passes. He also ran for 168 yards and a score, and with Trey, this is a player and a quarterback who, despite the 49ers trading 3 first-round picks for him, or if you want to say 2 and a pick swap, depending on how you look at it, what Trey needs to do in 2022 and beyond is be better than what Jimmy G was. We all have our opinions on Jimmy, and the reality behind him as the starter for the 49ers over the past couple of years was he couldn't get the end result they wanted, and that was a Super Bowl title. They nearly completed the job back in 2019, and it certainly would have been interesting to see how they handled the quarterback situation if they did. But for Trey, we have a player in an offense who, at minimum, will help the team out simply by being on the field on every play. When teams played the 49ers this past year, they were already a damn good team at that. They had to worry about Trent Williams, the offensive tackle, as there were viral clips of him simply destroying players, Deebo Samuel, who became a household name over the past year, George Kittle when he was healthy, and this isn't really limited to one player, but defenses also had to worry about how to stop the entire 49ers offense because of Kyle Shanahan's dreaded run scheme. But with Trey Lance in addition to all of this, you have to factor in his ability to run, which is something you could cross off if you were an opposing defense when facing Jimmy G. And sure, Jimmy may have had the occasional first down run when a lane was wide open, but with Trey, he makes his own lanes, and to put it simple, you can't play the 49ers in 2022 the same way you played them in 2021. I mean, it won't work. Statistically speaking, in that offense, I don't think Trey is going to be this 4,500 yard, 40 passing touchdown player, and if you're a 49ers fan watching this about your future quarterback, I don't want you to be discouraged or the takeaway to be he sucks, but what I want the takeaway to be is his presence alone helps the 49ers in the long run in a huge way, and because of him being there, I fully expect Deebo Samuel, assuming he stays healthy of course, to put up some very lofty numbers in 2022. Trey of course will be looking to become more efficient from a passing standpoint, but if he comes in and plays even at league average, which is certainly possible with this team, it's going to be a long year trying to stop this team every single Sunday. And next we go to Cadarius Tony, a receiver on the New York Giants, and if you remember, I put out a video a couple of months ago on teams already regretting their first round picks from 2021, and yes, Cadarius was on there, and the reason for that was not because Tony isn't good. It was more of they selected him right in front of Jalen Phillips of the Dolphins, who is a very good player already and plays a more important position than Tony. That was the main concept behind that, and it wasn't that I don't like Cadarius or anything like that. But Tony in his rookie year wasn't great, aside from one game, and it's not hard to figure out why. The Giants offense, and Giants fans, you know this, but it was painful to watch in 2021 at the end, limping to the finish line with Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm starting games, with a head coach in Joe Judge on the way out the door. I mean, there's only 17 games for a team's fan base to look forward to every year, and there's no way Giants fans were either in class or at their job throughout the week week thinking, man, I can't wait till Sunday. However, that can and will be a different story in 2022, and Cadarius Tony will play a role within that. He had an extremely impressive 189-yard performance as a rookie against the Cowboys last year, and of course Giants fans could not have chose a better team for him to do that against. To put it simply, Tony had 420 yards, nice, in about the worst possible season he could have had with everything that went against him. And in 2022, for Tony, Daniel Jones, and an offensive-minded head coach in Brian Daboll, it's inevitable things won't be at least as atrocious as they were in 2021, and Tony will break out this year. And with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, now is the time I ask you to please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because it would truly mean the world. And if you ever have a video suggestion, please comment below, and until next time, please be safe and have a great day. Love you guys.